Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of English with Magdalena. I'm your host, Magdalena, and today we have a very special guest, Dr. Adam. He's an expert in English proficiency exams, and he's here to share insights and strategies to tackle the TOEFL reading section effectively. Welcome, Dr. Adam.
Thank you, Magdalena. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited to share strategies that can help test takers excel in one of the most important sections of the TOEFL exam. Helping students achieve their goals is incredibly rewarding. The TOEFL reading section is not just a test of English skills, but also of strategic thinking and time management.
Let's start with the basics. Dr. Adam, can you explain what the TOEFL reading section is all about?
Of course, the TOEFL reading section is designed to assess how well students can understand academic text written in English. It typically includes 3 to 4 passages, each about 700 to 800 words long. These passages cover a variety of academic topics such as science, history, art, and even astronomy. The questions aim to measure skills like identifying main ideas, understanding vocabulary and context, and making inferences. Additionally, it tests how well students can integrate information from different parts of a passage and draw logical conclusions. Each passage is crafted to reflect the type of content students might encounter in university-level courses, providing a realistic academic challenge.
That sounds quite comprehensive. How much time do test takers usually have for this section?
You'll have 54 to 72 minutes, depending on whether there are 3 or 4 passages. That gives you about 18 minutes per passage to read the text and answer the accompanying 10 questions. Time management is critical to ensure you don't run out of time before finishing all the questions. It's important to practice pacing yourself to get through each passage efficiently. Additionally, understanding the balance between reading and answering is key. You should allocate time not only to absorb the material, but also to interpret and respond to questions effectively.
What are some of the common challenges students face in this section?
Great question. The most common challenges are time management. Many students struggle to finish all the passages within the given time. Understanding complex vocabulary. TOEFL texts often include advanced academic terms that can intimidate test takers. Handling question types. Some students find it tricky to identify main ideas, specific details, or implications from the text. These issues can add stress, especially under time conditions. Maintaining focus. Reading long academic text can be tiring, and some students lose concentration midway. Balancing speed and comprehension. Students sometimes read too quickly and miss key details, or they read too slowly and run out of time.
That makes sense. So, how can students overcome these challenges?
Let's break it down. For time management, practice skimming and scanning techniques to focus on key ideas without reading every word. Also, allocate specific time limits for each passage and question to avoid getting stuck. For vocabulary, build your word bank by reading academic materials and using tools like flashcards or vocabulary apps. Focus on recognizing prefixes, suffixes, and roots to infer word meanings. A weekly habit of learning 10 to 15 new academic words can make a huge difference. For question types, familiarize yourself with formats such as factual information, inference, vocabulary and context, and summary questions. Consistent practice with official TOEFL resources is essential. For focus, take short mental breaks between passages and train yourself to stay engaged through active reading techniques. For balancing speed and comprehension, try timed reading exercises to improve your ability to absorb and process information under pressure.
Can you walk us through some specific strategies for tackling the reading section?
Absolutely. Here are my top strategies. Read the questions first. Skim through the questions before diving into the passage to get a sense of what to look for. This saves time and helps you focus on relevant details. Use context clues. For vocabulary questions, the surrounding text often gives hints about the meaning of unfamiliar words. For example, look for synonyms, examples, or contrasting phrases. Highlight key ideas. Use the highlight tool in the online test to mark important details like names, dates, or definitions. This makes it easier to find information later. Eliminate wrong answers. Ruling out incorrect options makes it easier to choose the right one, especially when you're unsure. Paraphrase complex sentences. If a sentence seems dense, try rephrasing it in simpler terms to clarify its meaning. Identify paragraph roles. Determine what function each paragraph serves, such as introducing an argument, providing evidence, or concluding a discussion.
Those are great tips. Are there any advanced techniques for students aiming for high scores?
Definitely. High scorers often. Identify passage structure. Recognize how the passage is organized, whether it's chronological, compare and contrast, or cause and effect. This helps in locating specific information quickly. Practice active reading. Stay engaged by mentally summarizing each paragraph as you read. Ask yourself, what is the main point of this section? Focus on transitions. Words like however, therefore, or in addition signal shifts in the argument or important connections. These transitions often hold clues to the text structure. Pace themselves. Use a timer during practice sessions to develop a natural sense of pacing. Remember, each passage should take no more than 18 minutes. Review incorrect answers. Analyze why you got certain questions wrong to avoid repeating mistakes. Create a question log. Track challenging questions you encounter during practice and revisit them regularly to improve.
How important is practice for mastering this section?
Practice is absolutely crucial. The TOEFL reading section is quite predictable in its structure and question types. The more you practice, the more confident and comfortable you'll become. I recommend setting aside time each day to work on sample passages and track your progress. Focus on improving one specific skill at a time, such as vocabulary or inference questions. Remember, consistency is key to success. Use practice tests to simulate real conditions and analyze your performance to identify areas for improvement.
Do you have any specific resources you recommend?
But definitely, the official guide to the TOEFL test is a must-have. Websites like ETS and apps like Magoosh also offer excellent practice materials tailored for the TOEFL exam. Additionally, platforms like Noteful and YouTube channels dedicated to TOEFL prep can provide great insights and practice exercises. For students looking to strengthen their vocabulary, I recommend books like Barron's 1100 Words You Need to Know. Podcasts and online forums are also great for finding tips and staying motivated.
What about test anxiety? Many students feel overwhelmed during the exam.
That's a common issue. To manage stress, simulate test conditions. Practice under time conditions to build familiarity and reduce nervousness on test day. Take short breaks. During the test, use any available breaks to reset your focus and breathe deeply. Brief mindfulness exercises can help. Stay positive. Remind yourself of the preparation you've done and trust your skills. A confident mindset can make a big difference. Avoid overthinking. Stick to what is explicitly stated in the text, especially for factual questions. Prepare physically, get enough sleep, eat a balanced meal before the test, and stay hydrated.
That's excellent advice. What types of questions should students expect?
TOEFL reading questions include categories like factual information, asking for specific details, negative factual information, identifying what is not mentioned, inference, reading between the lines to draw conclusions, vocabulary in context, deciphering word meanings, prose summary, summarizing key ideas from the passage, sentence insertion, placing a given sentence in the correct part of the passage, table completion, filling out tables with categorized information based on the passage, purpose questions, understanding why the author included specific information.
That's a lot to prepare for. Any tips for dealing with these questions?
Here are some quick tips. For vocabulary questions, rely on context clues, and don't panic if you don't know the word. Look for definitions or examples nearby. For inference, avoid overthinking and stick to evidence in the text. Inferences should always have support from the passage. For prose summary questions, focus on the main points and avoid extraneous details. For sentence insertion, read the sentences before and after each blank to ensure logical flow. Pay attention to pronouns and keywords. For table completion, scan the passage for the specific categories mentioned in the table to quickly locate relevant details. For purpose questions, think about the author's intention and how the information fits into the overall argument.
Finally, what advice do you have for building confidence?
Confidence comes from preparation. Stimulate test conditions, track your progress, and celebrate every improvement, no matter how small. Remember, the TOEFL is a skill-based test. You'll improve with practice. Focus on your strengths and keep a positive attitude. Every practice session gets you one step closer to your goal. Believe in your ability to succeed and don't be afraid to ask for help if needed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adam, for these amazing insights. I'm sure our listeners feel more empowered and ready to tackle the TOEFL reading section.
Thank you, Magdalena. Best of luck to everyone preparing for the TOEFL. You've got this. Remember, consistent effort and a positive mindset make all the difference. Enjoy the process and take pride in your progress.
And that wraps up today's episode of English with Magdalena. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with anyone preparing for the TOEFL. See you next time.